Hallelujah. 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 Once more, give it all you got. Hallelujah. 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 Hello, KZOOMers.
Hey, everybody. Good
So
to see
good
you.
to see you, and I'm not freezing up and nothing.
We got it fixed.
Kind of.
Just
We're
yesterday.
knocking on some wood here.
Just
Yeah.
it took a week.
Took a week.
But we got it fixed.
So, so happy to be able to walk this path of love with you. And this, where we are in the Song of Songs is really a pivotal place. Maybe every single line is pivotal, but it's sort of like it hits me of like, oh, if I want to be on the path of love, then I have to be aware that there's work to do. There are obstacles in my way. There are kind of mind states that are not conducive to walking the path of love, and I need to work with them. So this is the week of the foxes, we call it, the week of the foxes, because the Song of Songs says, catch us, the foxes, the little foxes that raid our vineyard just when the vines are in bloom. So what this practice is talking about is that that what happens as we are walking this path of love with all good intention is that there are moments when the vineyard, which is the place of love and prophecy and growth and potential, it gets raided by these foxes, which are kind of thoughts that run wild in the mind and sometimes bring us into what we think of as negative states, difficult states of consciousness. And it is our job, that's just what they do. This is what the foxes do. In Buddhism, they call it monkey mind, and in Judaism, they call it foxy mind.
Foxy mind.
So the fox, and as I was preparing for this class of just being able to explore what are the habits of the mind and what are the strategies what strategies can we use in order to deal with those negativities and those difficult states that keep us from fully being on that path of love. And what came to mind for me was something that I had hanging on the wall, which was something called the 8 Domains of Integration, from a book called Mind Sight by Daniel Siegel. And so he talks, and he's a kind of a neuropsychologist, and he talks about the first domain of integration is the integration of consciousness. And the way he describes it is the work that we need to do is in stabilizing attention to harness awareness to create choice and change. And just that phrase just stuck with me. Stabilizing attention to harness awareness to create choice and change. And that's our work. And, the foxes is what we're, that's the presence of the foxes in the vineyard of the mind is a destabilizing kind of event, really. So to stabilize attention, to harness awareness so that we can have choice and change. Because on the path of love, if we have no choice, we are just the victims of the mind. Whatever just happens to jump into our head, into our vineyard, we are the victim of, and we have no choice. So being able to have a thought arise and to say, no, I'm not going there. And also to be able to sort of be taking steps towards love, even when these negative kind of impetus kind of like starts pushing us in a different direction. We have a choice. And I always feel like when I'm really awake, then every moment is a choice point. I can choose in this moment to be generous or stingy. I can choose in this moment to hold judgment or to accept what is. But I have to be awake in order to find that. And so the awakeness that is described in this practice is just catching ourselves. Just catching ourselves.
Catching those thoughts when they're going.
Just catching them, and say, oh, is that where I want to go? Do I have that choice in this moment? And only when I have a choice can I be the change I want to make, really. So it comes with a kind of a stabilizing or a settling of our attention. So I want to do this practice as a way of stepping into this intention and, to catch the foxes, to catch those kind of, sometimes for me it's kind of patterns of doubt and, or, fear or anxiety. And if I can catch it quick enough, I don't have to become this kind of a victim of the mind. So I'm going to take a sip here. So I'm just take a moment and sort of see if we can just settle our minds and sort of be in that vineyard just when the vines are in bloom. And here they come.
Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mechablim, kiramim, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mechablim, kiramim, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mechablim, kiramim, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mechablim, kiramim, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mechablim, kiramim, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mechablim, kiramim, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mechablim, kiramim, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mechablim, kiramim, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mechablim, kiramim, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mechablim, kiramim, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mechablim, kiramim, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mechablim, kiramim, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim. Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mikablim, kiramin, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mikablim, kiramin, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mikablim, kiramin, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mikablim, kiramin, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mikablim, kiramin, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mikablim, kiramin, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mikablim, kiramin, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim, shu'alim, kitanim, mikablim, kiramin, uchramaynu, smadar, Echezu-lanu, shu'alim.
In our practice, we resolve, we put energy towards this intention of stabilizing attention, to harness awareness, to create choice and change. Stabilizing attention. And just that just means working with the mind and its tendencies to run us ragged. Just working with it. And we want to bring to that endeavor a kind of a, like that it's a joyful challenge, and that we have moments of that stabilized attention, and where we can rest and feel ourselves like not a victim of the mind, and the key has to do with catching it as soon as we can, before it takes us hostage. Really,
Just as soon as I become aware. Sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer before I become aware of, like, oops.
Catches the fox.
I'm caught.
So when I think about these, negative mind states that sometimes that kind of take us off the path of love, because we're not really present in those states of anxiety, of fear, of doubt. We're just sort of like pulled away from our deepest soul's purpose of walking the path of love. And so what I wanted to do in this KZOOM is to sort of lay out 3 different strategies of just working with those states. And I want to make a distinction between having a strategy where you're working with those negative patterns, and what's called spiritual bypassing, which means like, oh yeah, I don't want to feel this, and so I'm going to do something to like
Jump over
and numb out, or because it's not that. It's sort of saying like And I was remembering in KZOOM we would often do practices where we'd feel a challenge in our lives. And we would, sometimes with a challenging person, a relationship, something that was bothering us. And I would say, let's take that and put it on the altar, right? This imaginary altar in front of us. And then we do a practice to change our state. And then at the end of the chant, we would come back to that issue or image or person. And we would come back with much more spaciousness, wisdom, place of connection, less triggered. And we would then be able to face that issue from a different place. So that's kind of a strategy. So this practice that I want to do is called accessing the highest, mm-hmm. which is about raising our vibration, creating a kind of a spaciousness from which we can live and not be as triggerable, not be a victim of those patterns. And as I was preparing, I was remembering a retreat that I did a number of years ago. I did kind of a hermitage at home, and I was really wanting to deepen my meditation practice. So I asked one of my friends and teachers, Sylvia Borstein, if I could check in with her each day during my kind of just solo retreat. And so she had me do this practice that really made an impression on me. And she said that it came out of the tradition of Dzogchen, which is a Tibetan form of meditation. And she said, keep your eyes open and look at the whole wide sky. And I live in a place where I can see the sky. And I sort of softened my gaze and just opened up to the whole sky and just kept my attention wide as possible. And what happened was thoughts would arise and they would just dissolve in that wide sky. And I didn't have to do anything to let them go or anything. It was just like the quality of the presence of that wide sky would just, they just couldn't live in that. And they would just dissolve of themselves. And I thought, wow, this is so cool. Because it seemed like it was such a hard job to be letting go of every thought. But I didn't have to do anything. It was the nature of the field that I was creating with that wide sky that dissolved the thoughts themselves. So it became a different kind of a strategy of dealing with pervasive kind of foxy thoughts. It's just creating, this kind of a wide field of attention, which is a kind of a raising of the vibration. So we'll go. Here we are again in the vineyard, and we wanted to just to try this strategy of raising the vibration, of opening up the wide sky, and you can do that with your eyes closed or your eyes open, just like to be able to not see. Not focus, but open. Just give this kind of open awareness, and we'll build that field.
Shaym-Havaya, Elyon, Shaym-Havaya, Elyon, Vazamara, Shaym-Havaya, Elyon, Vazamra, 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 Shaym-Havaya, Vazamra, Shaym-Havaya, Elyon, Vazamra, Shaym-Havaya, Elyon, Vazamra, Shaym-Havaya, Vazamra, Shaym-Havaya, Vazamra, Shaym-Havaya, Vazamra, Shaym-Havaya, Elyon, 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 Vazamra, Shaym-Havaya, Vazamra, Shaym-Havaya, Vazamra, Shaym-Havaya, Elyon, Vazamra, Shaym-Havaya, Elyon, Vazamra, Shaym-Havaya, Shaym-Havaya, Elyon. Vasamula, Shaym-Havaya, Elyon.
Close your eyes and just bring some awareness of the field that we just called up. Breathing into a sense of spaciousness. Just a higher awareness. And it feels like it's the same kind of thing as you can't solve a problem from the same kind of state or level that problem was created. That you need to move to a different kind of a wider dimension in order to be able to have enough perspective. And that's partly what we're doing with the foxes here. We're kind of widening the view so that we're not kind of like sort of there in the vines, tangled up.
We can see them all from that wide
Yeah,
perspective. Like, oh, I see you there.
Oh, yeah,
You better stay right there.
So it's a kind of a strategy that I want to be able to use in order to be able to walk this path of love with this awareness that I have this negativity bias of the brain, which is kind of bite me in the ass, it's just going to catch me and keep me from the fullness of my being. So I want to develop these different strategies. So this next strategy, which I call the power of not knowing, this practice that we'll do, it might even be from this week's parsha. So it is, yeah. Betsy says it is, yes.
All right. Good timing.
Parsha Bo. And it comes out of a conversation between Moshe, the place of prophecy in us, and Pharaoh, which is the tyrant within us, which is that the mind can be a tyrant. It can kind of try to run the show here, and there's this conversation that happens between that place of expanded consciousness, the place of Moses in us, and the place of Pharaoh in us, which is that tyrannical mind state, that is kind of pushing us into negativities, So that and in that conversation, the place in us that is Moses says, we don't know how we will serve God until we get there, and it's sort of I call it the power of not knowing, because I'm not going to go and kind of come at the level of that having a fight with the Pharaoh on his terms. Instead of that, saying like, hey, it's a mystery. It's a mystery. And all I can do is enter the mystery with faith and trust in the unfolding of grace. So when those foxes are running around in our vineyard, instead of sort of violently trying to kill them all, we might just enter into this place of mystery, of not knowing. And it's like we're not having an argument, because that's what the mind wants. It wants somebody to argue with you. But instead, we're saying we're opening to the the power of not knowing. And it's a kind of a doorway to mystery that we want to enter through. And as I was, composing this chant, I had, there's one part of it that says, Lo-nayda, mah-na'avod, et-Yah, shama. So I'm entering into this place of like radical humility with it, and I'm taking a journey towards that great mystery. And as I was composing this chant, I realized, I don't want it to be trudging through the wilderness. It has it has its own kind of mystery and lightness to it. So I have this other melody that I sing that kind of opens it up, and with kind of with counterpoint, But it's really, it's in a way, it's an AA kind of move of I am powerless here. I'm not the one in charge. God is in charge, and God is the great mystery. And this is a different strategy to use in response to those foxes in the mind, just to surrender really to that great mystery, to something greater than the ego. So let's try this practice here. Lo-nayda, mah-na'avod,
et-Yah, shama. Lo-nayda, mah-na'avod, et-Yah, shama. Lo-nayda, mah-na'avod, et-Yah, shama. Lo-nayda, mah-na'avod, et-Yah, shama. Lo-nayda, mah-na'avod, et-Yah, shama. Lo-nayda, mah-na'avod, et-Yah, shama. Lo-nayda, mah-na'avod, et-Yah, shama. Lo-nayda, mah-na'avod, et-Yah, shama. Lo-nayda, mah-na'avod, et-Yah, shama. Lo-nayda, mah-na'avod, et-Yah, shama. Lo-nayda, mah-na'avod, et-Yah, shama. et-Yah ad bo'enu shama.
And with every repetition, surrendering.
Lo-nayda mah-na'avod et-Yah ad bo'enu shama. Lo-nayda mah-na'avod et-Yah ad bo'enu shama. Lo-nayda mah-na'avod et-Yah ad bo'enu shama. Lo-nayda mah-na'avod et-Yah ad bo'enu shama.
Surrendering to the mystery.
Lo-nayda mah-na'avod et-Yah ad bo'enu shama. 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 Lo-nayda mah-na'avod et-Yah ad bo'enu shama.
Once more.
Lo-nayda mah-na'avod et-Yah ad bo'enu shama. Lo-nayda mah-na'avod et-Yah ad bo'enu shama. Lo-nayda mah-na'avod et-Yah ad bo'enu shama. Lo-nayda mah-na'avod et-Yah ad bo'enu shama.
And in the silence, close your eyes, give up the argument, surrender to the power of not knowing. Just falling into the arms of mystery. Surrendering the fight. And allowing yourself to be embraced by that power. So here, this challenge that we have of needing to stabilize attention in order to harness awareness to create choice and change. We do it through raising the vibration, opening up the field, and also by surrendering to not knowing, to not being in charge. So just notice just how that feels, and whether there's something inside that might kind of relax. I want to give one more strategy in dealing with the foxes, with the habits of mind. And so I wanted just to say in background, there was this book that I read a while ago that was called The Beauty as a State of Being. It was written by Solomon Katz. And he laid out a kind of a strategy to get to that place of spaciousness, of what he called no thinking. And he said, sometimes we have kind of like this negativity in the mind, and that negativity is so kind of sticky. It holds on, it has a charge to it, really. And so sometimes he said to get from negativity to no thinking is a really hard pathway. And so what I got from that book was that he sort of laid out this pathway of saying that sometimes you need to go from negativity to positivity to no thinking. So if you want to get to that spacious place where you're not the victim of mind, that first there needs to be a kind of a transformation of the negative to the positive. And sometimes that transformation happens with reframing, kind of like lifting the mood. It's not like avoiding the negativity. It's just sort of like, raising it up in some way, seeing the positive, like getting into a new habit of mind, which is positivity. And that's something that we can learn. We can create the groove of positive thinking. And it's really helpful in when those foxes are loose in the mind, to be able to shift to the positive. And then from there, it becomes like so much easier to just let go and open up to be on that path of love. So what that pathway reminded me of was this practice that I call heart reflections. And it shows a kind of a pathway for me that says when I'm sort of caught in my head, I need to go into my heart. And then from there, I can find stillness. If I stay in my head, I'm not going to find the stillness, because it's the nature of that head place to just like have an ongoing argument with reality. And so it's just going to keep going. But if I could take all of that energy of the head and bring it into my heart, then from there, there is like a doorway to stillness, to silence. And so it says, imru vilvavchem, and which is this conversation that of taking the head from the head into the heart. Imru vilvavchem al mishkavchem, in this place where I really do want to rest, on my bed. And then an amazing thing happens. Domu. And domu is a kind of a word that means both stillness and silence. And even if that domu lasts just for 1 second, it's such a relief to feel it, to feel that place of settled, stable attention inside. So I want to just to use this practice as a kind of a mapping of our pathway from that vineyard that's filled with foxes, to a place of stillness within. And it's a different strategy, really, of dealing with the habits of mind. It's like creating a new habit of coming into the heart. And I'll use this sometimes if I can't sleep, if my mind is too busy and I can't sleep. I'll take all of that mind energy and bring it into my heart. And from there's a kind of a doorway to this sense of tranquility. I'm looking at you like, do you believe me?
Oh, yes.
Have you experienced that? Yeah. So let's take that pathway.
Imru bilvavchem al mishkavchem. Imru bilvavchem al mishkavchem. Domu, 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 salah, domu, 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 salah. Imru bilvavchem al mishkavchem. Imru bilvavchem al mishkavchem. Domu, 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 salah, domu, 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 salah. Imru bilvavchem al mishkavchem. Imru bilvavchem al mishkavchem. Domu, 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 salah, domu, 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 salah. Imru bilvavchem al mishkavchem. Imru bilvavchem al mishkavchem. Domu, 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 salah, domu, 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 salah. Imru bilvavchem al mishkavchem. Imru bilvavchem al mishkavchem. Domu, 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 salah, domu, domu,
Let's take a moment to feel that inner stillness. Just breathing, breathe into it, expand it, anchor it with your awareness. So now when the foxes come, you will have some strategies.
Yeah. Catch us, those foxes.
Just, you don't have to be the victim of those foxes. And to remember that the reason that we work with the habits of mind is so that we can live in that place of love, that we can walk the path of love. Because if we don't have it's like if we don't have a choice in each moment, we will just be sort of pulled by life, life's vicissitudes and triggers, But I always kind of rest into the truth that the only thing I have any control over is my inner state.
Yeah.
So I need to work with it,
Consciously,
It's
on
a
purpose.
It's a life's work.
And
And that inner state is what I'm going to bring to all my relations, to everything that I do is going to come from that place of stable attention, harnessed awareness, the possibility of choice and change.
all right.
Yeah,
I think we're.
good to be with you, everyone.
Oh,
And I'm going to stop the recording.